So we now need to generate the order total, right? So we actually have to calculate that in some form or fashion. And the way we're going to do it is going to be based off of the cart. I started to mention in the last one that we might use it based off of this many-to-many changed, but we're actually not going to do that because we don't need to recalculate anything. And we also don't need to monitor whether or not this has changed because this does it for us, right? So we actually just need to make sure when the cart changes, the order changes. So it's really after the cart has been saved, that's when we can update our order based off of that cart. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, let's go ahead and try it out. Now, logically, you might be like, oh, hey, why don't I do from orders.models, import order, and, just do it somewhere in here. Well, this is not a good idea because you get an error like this. Wait, what the heck? Models cart. Well, you can't import order into this, or you can't right. So I imported cart here. So from carts.models, but then in carts.models, I import order. So there's like this kind of reverse circle that never ends. So you can't actually do that. So we're going to get rid of that. And since cart already is imported in my order, I can actually use the post save receiver or post save signal to make my own receiver function for the cart, right? So much like what we did here, we can do the same thing for our order total. So let's go ahead and try that out. And I'll say define post save cart total. And it's going to be sender, instance, args, keyword args. Okay, so this is going to be the cart. So we'll just say cart obj equals to the instance, just so we don't get get confused with it possibly being the order. So in here, all I need to do is get the cart total. So cart total equals to cart object.total. And I probably want the cart ID because I will need to look it up. So cart ID equals to cart object.id. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is just go QS equals to order.objects.filter and cart __ ID equals to cart ID. So make sure there's 2 underscores here, basically saying, hey, in this cart object, this related data, look up by the ID and get that cart ID. We've seen this before. And then I'll just say if qs.exists, then I need to actually update those orders to what they are. Realistically, we should only have one cart or one order per cart. So we'll say if qs.exists and qs.count equals to 1, or simply if qs.count equals to 1, then we'll just say the order object equals to qs.first, or in that first query set there. And then we'll do order object. And then we need to update the total. And then that's pretty much it. Now, of course, we don't have this update total method yet. So let's go ahead and just make it here. So update total self. And we'll just return nothing for a moment. Okay, so this will update our total for that order. And then we'll just do post save.connect. And the receiver function is this post save cart total. The sender equals to the cart. Okay, and again, we have the cart imported, so it's actually coming through here. So that's if the cart changes. But what if the order is just created? Well, we can do the same thing here. So I'm going to say define post save cart or order, and I'll just say sender instance args keyword args. Actually, I want to have one more thing in here as created. That's another attribute that will be passed by default. So it's actually in this one as well. And we probably won't have the need to run this. So we'll say if not created. So if the cart wasn't just created, it probably doesn't have an order yet. So we'll just say if not created, then, do all those things. And then with the order, if it's created, then we'll just do the instance.update total. And finally, post save connect. And this is the post save order. And of course, it's going into the order. Okay, so we now need to have this method. So we did an instance method for this update total stuff. So we'll say cart total equals to self.cart and then .total, right? I started doing it here, but we actually don't need that. What we need is just the order ID. So this gives me the cart total, and then my subtotal, or the shipping total, is equal to self.shipping total. So then my actual total is, in this case, going to be equal to the cart total plus the shipping total, or, if I had tax or any of those other things, this is where I could calculate it as well. And then I'm going to say self.total equals to that variable of total, or let's just call it new total, and self.save, and then we'll just return that new total. So this method is on the order itself, and it's called in a few places. It's called when the cart changes the order size, and then it's also called when the order is created in the first place. So those are two places that it would actually happen. Now, you could update the total every time the cart is saved. I just don't think that's necessary, because the only times that the cart total probably will change has to do with, if the cart total changes, or if something else in the order changes too. So we could do this, but the big thing here is if I did tab this out, so if it was updating the total every time the cart changed, then I would have to get rid of this save, and I'd probably have to do it in a pre-save method and stuff like that. So with the if created part, this is only fired one time. So after it's created, then you can run this total and then saves again. And this actually runs again, which we could say print running and print updating first. And we'll see that in just a moment. Okay, cool. So now that we've got this, let's go ahead and test this stuff out. Now into our order, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this order. Actually, I don't want it. I'll go ahead and add a new order here. Leave that order ID empty. I'll do a cart 17. Status doesn't really matter. Hit save and continue. It actually calculates that order for me. So if I go into the order, it says running, updating first, and then running again. So that's showing you how that post-save receiver works. It's actually getting called twice. It gets called when it was created, and then when the instance goes update total. So if I really wanted to mess things up and put it there, I'll hit save and continue. It's going to hang. It's hanging right now, and then you get this recursion depth error happening. That can happen on pretty much any of your signals if you're not using them correctly. Because remember, each signal happens based off of what they are, right? So post-save, this means right after the model is saved, this signal gets fired. Pre-save means right before the model is actually saved in the database, this gets fired, and you can do stuff like we are. So that allows us to calculate our orders. Now let's try this again. We've got 5598. Let's actually try and change our cart 17. So we'll go into carts 17. I'm going to add 3 products to it. So the total should definitely change. I'll hit save and continue. It's 189.97. I'm going to refresh in this cart order. Boom. What do you know? The total actually changed. So this is really good for if they, click on, hey, let's go ahead and check out. And then, oh, wait, I want to add a few more products to my order. It will actually generate that for us. And all of this is still based off of, even the order is still based off of the cart, right? It's still going off of what the cart is, which is going off of the session. So if the session ends, then the order is likely no longer going to be valid. That means it's going to pretty much clear out that order completely. It will be saved in our database though. So it's going to be there forever, but it won't actually, be able to be re-accessed because that cart will no longer exist. And we'll see how that happens actually in the next one. Stay with us.